Hi friends, this is Dainty Tank. Thank you for joining me. Welcome back to Please Be Happy. This is part 16 in our series, Poked in the Upper Card area. See, Aspen surprised us with a confession, because that's where we are. I did end it, and then I kind of walked away, and I was like, okay, let's get ready for bed, and I'm like, I can't get this out of my brain. We're just going to continue on, because I need to know what my vampire friend is going to tell me about our mutual mortal companion here. I need to know. I need to know. And honestly, I really think they would be an adorable little throuple. But it's just me. Hi. And the sir. I have the sir. That's why I'm a little bit further back. Anytime I'm like leaned back further and I'm like smaller in frame, it's because I have an adorable little kitty in my arms. Load.
Already? Okay, let me grab my keys.
That's new. Okay, so you made up your mind, right? Here we go. Sir, please stop eating Gideon. My legs feel like jelly as they carry me towards another huge moment. My hands shake, but I hold on tightly to the banister as I head down to the kitchen, where Juliet's making tea. There's a second mug set on the table, full of steaming hot chocolate.
Right on time, like always. I was just about to call for you.
I heard you get up a little while ago. I was still doing some thinking, though.
I see. So, I take it that means you've made up your mind about Aspen, then?
Yeah. It wasn't easy, but I have.
Matters of the heart are rarely easy. Shall we sit?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
We take our usual seats, the third one conspicuously empty. I take a big gulp of my hot chocolate, while Juliet takes a small sip of tea. Wiping my mouth with the back of my hand, I lean back in my chair, take a deep breath, and nod.
I've decided.
I want to try things with Aspen, and I don't think I can do it. So we're gonna save. And anybody who's been watching this, I've been very clear who I want to follow the first one. I've been very clear on that. Who I want to follow down the path. And specifically, for me, on this run, it's not going to be Aspen. I am going to play through this probably multiple times. Saying that right now because I know that I will. Because I'll go through this first round completely blind, just having a great time. And then I'm probably going to go, oh my god, I need to see the others. And then go through the rest of them. Because that's what I do. However, this first one, I don't think I can do it.
I don't think I can do it. I like Aspen, and I don't want to hurt her. But she's a human, and I just don't think I can do that to myself.
The words are heavy and hard to say, but it's a relief to say them. That is valid. Like, it's valid if you want to have that relationship. You just know that you need to spend as much time as possible because there's going to be more time without them than with them. And that's not a reason not to have that love. At all. Totally valid. But it's also a valid view to say, I don't think I want that. Juliet reaches her hand across the table and places it over mine.
I understand. I'm sure Aspen will too.
I'm sure Aspen will as well, yes. I feel bad hurting Aspen because she's so sweet and so courageous. Moving to the big city on her own, like contemplating a store manager job, writing a book, trying to publish it by the age of 24. Like, she's incredible. She is an incredible human and so brave to say her feelings. But that doesn't mean that her feelings are reciprocated here.
You don't think she'll be mad at me, do you? Or upset? She said she wouldn't, but...
Oh, heavens, no. I'm sure she'll be sad. It would be wrong of me to tell you otherwise. But I also know that she wouldn't want it to affect the relationship you do have. I'm sure she's prepared herself for this possibility and made her peace with it. The only way I can see her regretting her actions is if they somehow sullied your friendship.
Oh, that's a good point. Like, she's so courageous, she's so brave. And honestly, like, Miho is a great inspiration for her. You are great friends without having the romance in there. And that is great. I love that. And that fact there from Juliet of the only way she would be regretting it is if she let it affect the friendship. Because you matter enough for her to love you.
No, no way. At least, I hope not. I don't like her any less. I just can't like her more than I already do. Not in the way she does.
I know what you mean. The heart wants what it wants. To try and go against our own feelings is folly. We only end up creating pain for ourselves and others.
I love your words. They're so poetic.
That's why Aspen chose to share her feelings with you, even knowing they may not be returned.
Oh,
And why it's important to be honest with yourself, even about the things that may be difficult.
it's true.
As you've reminded me, time and again.
Uh-huh. I feel Juliet's hand slide off of mine as she stands and walks to the window, opening the blinds. Outside, it's an in-between time of evening, when the sun has already set, but the sky hasn't become totally dark yet. Though Juliet has no reflection, I can see myself in the window watching her. I wonder if she notices too. I love that. Oh, that tiny detail. Thank you for calling out the fact that she is a vampire and she has no reflection. My hand tingles where hers covered it just a moment ago.
Have you ever been in love before?
Turning to face me, Juliet has an expression I can't read before replacing it with a fond smile.
There were several times that I thought I was, but later realized otherwise. All of them were before Cassette was born, when I was much more... wild.
Wild? Oh, I want to know your wild days. Oh, I want to know your wild days.
I mistook the desires of the body and mind for the desires of the heart.
Oh, that's understandable. That's understandable. Honestly, that is a good point there, because you can have sexual attraction and you can also have romantic attraction. Those are two separate tracks. So you could be allo, and allo being opposite of ace. So it's of asexual, allosexual, meaning yes the sex, and then aromantic, or I think that's allo as well. There might be a different way to say that, but effectively, like, yes, all of the romance. You could have all, you could have neither. Jane Animations does a great thing about it. If you don't know, I'll put a link down below, and you could just take a look as well, and go see her video on it.
What I had thought was love was really just an attempt to fill something missing, to fool myself into believing it was real.
Aww.
Raising Cassette forced me to be honest with myself for the first time in ages. Perhaps ever.
Aww.
I had never truly cared about anyone other than myself. I just didn't know it until then.
Well, I mean, different relationships put things in perspective.
For her entire life, I devoted my heart to Cosette, ensuring she had all the genuine love and support that she needed and deserved.
Yes. You're a great vampire parent. We love you very much.
Even when she grew up and moved out of our home together, not a day or even an hour went by that she wasn't in my thoughts. Since she passed away, I haven't allowed myself to grow close to anyone else. I couldn't ever again settle for a relationship that I didn't feel with my whole heart.
Aww. Her eyes meet mine, lingering for a moment before Juliet turns her attention back to her teacup, taking a sip. She closes her eyes and sighs with contentment.
I've made do with smaller pleasures. Hot tea, a good book, the company of friends. It's been enough. Ever since then.
Aww.
I know what you mean. I've only had smaller pleasures too.
Much like Juliet, it never occurred to me to want more. A warm place to sleep and a meal that I didn't scavenge were more than luxurious. For a long, long time, I've been satisfied with what little I had. Couldn't hope for anything else. So I thought. I swished my cup of hot chocolate, which isn't quite so hot anymore. I don't know how Juliet makes it, but I know it doesn't just come from mixing some water and powder. It's something she makes special every time, just because she knows I like it. Has anyone else ever done something like that for me? Not that I can remember.
Not looking forward to telling Aspen tomorrow.
I know. I'm sure it can't be easy.
Like always, she handles my abrupt topic changes without comment.
All I can suggest is to speak from your heart, just like she did. Though it may take her a while, in time, I know that she'll be okay. The best thing you could do is to treat her normally, as if nothing has changed between the two of you.
Right. She's still Aspen.
She's still incredible.
Exactly. And you're still friends. Nothing can take that away.
I nod, feeling a little better. Juliet and I chat a bit more, before eventually I excuse myself and head up to my room for the night. Before I get into bed, I already know it's going to be one of those nights where I toss and turn for hours before being able to pass out. No matter what, I'm not looking forward to letting Aspen down tomorrow. All I can do is hope she understands, like Juliet said, even if it's not what she wants to hear. I'll make sure to not let it change anything between us. Neither of us would want that. Sure enough, it takes me a while, but eventually my restlessness turns into exhaustion and I slip into a fretful sleep. Morning comes all too soon. Groggily opening my eyes, I check the time and see that I've slept in about as late as I can. Spend a while trying to fall back asleep, but fail and eventually give up. There are only a couple hours until Aspen will be back. I'm sure she'll go back to her apartment first after she arrives, but she'll have to come to the library not long after that so we can see each other before the day's passed. Once she's here, I don't see a way to put off talking about that. Be better for both of us to just get it over with, I'm sure.
Alright, Miho. You can do this.
You can do this. It's okay. You're allowed to let someone down. Just do it with respect. It's okay. It's so hard that they were able to open themselves up. And giving them that respect of thank you for even telling me. Thank you for opening yourself up, for being vulnerable. I see you. That's important. Staring into the bathroom mirror, I try to believe myself. I know that what Juliet said is all true about our friendship not having to change or there being any bad feelings. I'm not looking forward to telling Aspen in the first place. It won't be the first time that I've heard Aspen somehow, but it's the first time where I've planned it out in advance and known that's gonna happen. Still, I know that fixating on it and dreading it will make me feel worse. After moping around for a bit longer, I head down to the kitchen.
Good morning, Miho.
Morning!
At least Juliet seems to be in a good mood. I try to make myself sound chipper too. Even though it's just the two of us today, Juliet's worked as hard as always on breakfast. There's the usual assortment of fruits and eggs and toast all laid out on the table.
Thanks for the food.
Of course. Do dig in.
Thank you for food.
Don't mind if I do.
I eat my meal with as much gusto as I can, although I'm much slower than usual. Juliet went through all the effort to prepare everything, so I don't want to let it go to waste. Eventually I have to admit defeat and set down my fork with a lot of food unfinished.
Everything okay?
Yeah, it's all great. I'm just not super hungry right now.
Oh, yes. Understandable. I'm sorry. I should have asked before preparing so much.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
Nah, it's fine. Thanks for cooking. I'm sorry I can't eat more of it.
Don't worry. As long as you enjoyed it, I certainly can't complain.
I sure did. It doesn't look like you're all that hungry either, though.
Me? What makes you say that?
I point at the half-eaten bread on her plate.
You had even less than I did.
She looks down. Juliet looks down as if surprised to see what's there.
Well, I suppose you're right. To tell you the truth, most food tastes the same to me, essentially flavorless. I enjoy the ceremony of sharing a meal with friends much more than the meal itself.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know you lost taste buds.
You can't taste anything? Why not?
It's another one of the downsides of vampirism. I can still eat and drink if I want to, but I don't need to.
I mean, that's awesome.
Even tea?
Even tea, to an extent. Although I can't enjoy the flavor, I do still enjoy its aroma. And that was one of my favorite parts about tea, even as a human.
Okay.
Whoa. You're really good at cooking for not being able to try it.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Cosette was often my taste tester.
That makes sense.
Once I found a way of preparing something she enjoyed, it was simply a matter of committing the recipe to memory.
Aw.
She definitely had good taste then. I can't imagine not being able to enjoy food. It used to be one of the only things I enjoyed.
It is quite unfortunate. Had I known what it would be like before I turned, I would have made more of an effort to sample cuisine from around the world while I could.
Were there other things that were different for you then?
Oh, yes. Almost everything.
Please tell me more. I want more.
Those faculties that I do retain, such as my eyesight and hearing, are far keener than they were as a human. To say nothing of the ability to transform. I suppose it must be like that for you as well, compared to your days as a fox.
Yeah, that's true. But I can always turn back into a fox when I want to.
You are quite fortunate in that regard. Taking wing as a bat can be exhilarating, but it's not... familiar.
That's a good point.
Do you like being a vampire? Would you go back to being a human if you could?
Not that that's a possibility, but...
That's a difficult question to answer. Even if I were to somehow revert to normal humanity right now, I wouldn't be the same person I was before I became a vampire.
Buddy, are you okay? Okay. I'm sorry. My cat just tilted over, I'm like, oh my god, are you okay? Oh, you fell asleep, and you fell asleep in the worst position. Got it. Got it better now. I wouldn't be the same person I was before I became a vampire is a good point.
That was a lifetime ago. Several, in fact. Who I am now isn't even who I was when I first changed.
It's a good point.
I appreciate the many chances that I've had to learn and grow. Without the gift of immortality, that wouldn't have happened. Nor would I have met any of the people whom I care about most. You, Cosette, Aspen. I'd have died centuries too early for our paths to ever cross.
That's a good point.
Naturally, I wouldn't trade that for the world, for anything. But I confess that I do miss the simplicity of human life. The very things that Aspen fears most are some of what I most regret leaving behind. A temporary existence pushes you to achieve all that you can within the time given to you. Your triumphs and victories are sweeter, just as tragedy may be deeper, for their impermanent finality.
Oh, that's so deep. Oh my god.
I suppose I would have to say that it's equal parts blessing and curse. Presented with the choice to somehow go back and stop myself from being turned, I would decline.
I love the voice actress so much on this. Ah, so good.
There are truths that can only be learned with experience and age. So, in that sense, perhaps it would be futile, even if it were possible.
I think I'm done, sir. You can go and have a good rest. You're tired. Thank you. There we go. Now we're a little bit more centered. With a sigh, she gives me a sheepish smile.
That was rather long-winded of me, wasn't it? To answer your question more directly, no, I wouldn't go back. There's a part of me that will always want to, though.
Okay.
I get it. Sounds like there are even more differences between Fable like us and humans than I thought.
In some ways, yes.
Nodding, I idly push around some of the leftover food on my plate with a fork. It went cold a long time ago.
Thanks for saying all that. It makes me feel better about, you know, like I'm making the right decision.
It's my pleasure. I'm glad that I could be of some help.
I wish I could delay having the conversation with Aspen, but there's only a couple more hours until I would have to see her anyway. At least long enough for her not to forget me. She took a late bus there and the early bus back just for that, meaning her visit with her family hardly lasted any time at all. I feel a twinge of guilt because Aspen basically has to plan her life around seeing me, even though there's nothing I can do about that. Rising to my feet, I gather up both my dishes and Juliet's and take them to the sink, dumping the leftovers in the trash on my way. Well, true, but like, honestly, her parents could come see her. There's that.
Thank you, Miho.
For what?
No problem. Are you going to bed?
Oh, the dishes.
Indeed. Unless you'd prefer for me to wait with you.
I wouldn't mind, but it's okay. You don't have to stay up for my sake. I'm probably just going to watch TV or something until she gets here.
All right, if you're sure. As always, you're welcome to wake me should the need arise.
If you're actually asleep next time. You were already awake when I knocked yesterday.
True. Although that was something of an anomaly. Still, whether I'm awake or not, don't hesitate if you need anything.
Will do. Night!
Have a good day, Miho. I'll see you this evening.
I finish cleaning up as Juliet heads to her room. After wiping my hands dry, I flick off the lights and go to my own room. The TV crackles to life when I switch it on, and I take my usual spot on the floor with my back against the bed. Flipping from channel to channel, I look for a cartoon or something that I can watch without having to think too hard about it. Preferably something without a romantic subplot, as hard as that is to find. It's not that I mind those most of the time, but right now, I'm not in the mood. I end up settling on an animated movie about a girl who could turn into a seal in her brother's quest to rescue her. Animated movie about a girl who can turn into a seal. Their brother's quest to rescue her. I have no idea what this is relating to. All the rest of them are like, oh, I know exactly what that is. What is this? Does someone know? What is this? Am I missing something? Like, I love animated movies. Love them. Like Owl House, or any sort of deep movie, animation, any of them. I have no idea what this is. Let me know if you know down in the comments. Thank you. Meanwhile, I have the subplot. As I'd hope, watching shows does take my mind off things. It also makes time pass by way too fast. At some point, when I check the clock, I see that it's almost time for Aspen's bus to arrive. Stomach cramping feeling of anxiety starts to kick in. Take some deep breaths and drink a glass of water to stifle it.
It's no big deal, you dummy. You're just making this worse for yourself. She'll be sad, but she'll get over it.
She'll get over it. Around the time that the bus should be pulling into the station, I go downstairs to wait. My practice books for reading and writing are tucked away at the front desk while I retrieve them and sit down. My eyes go over the same line a dozen times without really processing what I'm seeing. It's frustrating because it's not like my thoughts are occupied with something more important. Instead, it's like there's an alarm bell ringing in my head, an unhelpful reminder that I'm not looking forward to what's going to happen without contributing anything useful. I grit my teeth and try to power through it, forcing my hands and eyes to cooperate. Manage to slowly make my way through the worksheet in front of me, but not without glancing at the front door every couple minutes. When I finish, I'm not sure I actually got anything out of it. With every minute that ticks by, I get a little antsier. I wait. And wait. And wait. 45 minutes after her bus should have arrived, I get up and pour myself another glass of water. Just do something.
She sure is taking her time.
I should probably be more patient. It's a long walk from her apartment to here, and she probably wanted to freshen up after the long ride. Sighing, I take my seat, spinning circles in the chair. A minute later, I stand up again and pace around, browsing the books on the library shelves as if I'm interested in them at all. Before I know it, an hour has passed since I came downstairs, since Aspen got back to Wellington. Head back to my desk and pull out another writing worksheet. With a couple weeks of practice behind me now, I can write almost all the letters from memory, just not very legibly. It takes all my concentration, but when I get to the end of this one, I'm pretty proud of the results. Somehow it took me almost 15 minutes to get through both sides. That explains why my hand is so sore. But it doesn't explain why Aspen's still not here.
Maybe I should go find her.
If you go somewhere, she's gonna have trouble finding you. She'll probably be following the same path we took to get to the station yesterday. It goes right by her home, after all. Or she could be taking the bus or a taxi. It's early enough that if I hurry, I could get to the station and back with time to spare in case she does take a different route and get to the library while I'm gone. Plus, I could write her a note. Grab one of the pens of the sticky notes that Juliet keeps at the desk, gripping my pencil so tightly that it hurts. But I need to be as precise as I can, or else Aspen won't be able to read it. Aspen went to station and your house. Took route you showed me. We'll come back here. It's not the best, but it should work. I wish I could calm down enough to be proud. Instead, I just grab a piece of tape and stick it to the note to the front door as I walk out. Moving at a brisk pace, I scan both sides of every street as I go and check every window and open door I can to make sure I don't miss her. I make it to Aspen's apartment and knock loudly. rocking on my heels while I wake. Door never opens. Try to peek into her window, but the blinds are shut and the curtains are drawn. Still, it doesn't look like there are any lights on inside. My worry starts to morph into panic. It's possible she already came home, dropped off her bags, turned the lights back off, and left. But then, why didn't I pass her on the way? Just be sure, I hurry to the rest of the short trip to the station, but I don't see any traces of Aspen. Flat out running instead of jogging, I rush back the way I came, but instead of staying on that one route, I also try side streets, weaving back and forth between the main path and the others. None of them have her, and I reach the library breathless and alone, my notes still where I left it. Push the door open, hoping against hope that she's waiting for me inside. She isn't. But Juliet is there, standing behind the front desk.
Oh, Miho. I was wondering where you'd gone. I saw these sheets that you left out.
Aspen still isn't back yet.
I can't have back from bursting out the bad news. There's no time to waste. Juliet's eyes instantly go wide with alarm, and her mouth drops open in shock, and for a brief moment, before she composes herself. You shocked? You shocked the vampire. That's very impressive. Sir, I do not want your butt. But I'm getting your butt. Okay. It's just how I choose to deal with your butt is the answer. Okay.
I see. Wait here. I'll try to call her.
While she rushes off, I push the door back open and scan the horizon, looking for a glint of Aspen's glasses in the sun and her hat bouncing while she walks. Nothing. Juliet returns with the phone in her hands, where she looks weirdly out of place. That's an anachronism? I am a girl anachronism. Amanda Palmer. Dressing dolls. I really love that one. She calls Aspen and then puts it on speaker, and we both wait with bated breath.
Hello, you've reached Aspen. If you're a publishing agent or editor, then please...
Juliet cuts off the voicemail message, just like I cut her off a moment ago.
I didn't even hear it ring.
It didn't. That means that for whatever reason, she can't receive calls right now.
Whatever reason? Like what?
Most likely, her phone is dead. Or she's somewhere without reception.
I see Juliet's face fall as we both make the same connection.
Yesterday, before we left here.
Yes. She mentioned that she wouldn't have it for most of the journey. But she should have been back in Wellington a long time ago, correct?
Yeah, at least 2 hours ago.
How much longer do you have left?
About an hour.
My voice cracks as I say it.
Just under.
My mouth is dry. I try to swallow the lump in my throat, but it won't go away. She even came home early to give us extra time. Time that was supposed to be just in case, not actually needed.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. I was hoping you would know.
Me? I see. Let me think.
I don't know. I ran back and forth across the city. Help me, vampire. I could just wait here at the library where she's bound to turn up eventually. I'm sure she's watching the clock as closely as I am. Wherever she is. On the other hand, I could go out and look for her again. I can move faster than she can, and if she's running late, then the time saved by going to where she is could make all the difference. That's true, but if you don't know where she is...
Okay. Here.
I look up at Juliet, hoping she has a solution.
Take my phone. Go try to find her. Make sure you can get back here in time. If she arrives before you find her, we'll call you.
Does Miho know how to work a phone?
Okay.
Juliet quickly shows me how to use the phone. There we go. And I pocket it, making sure that it won't fall out. Her plan just combined both of mine. It's a good compromise, but it still comes down to luck. I guess there's no way around that. Not every problem has a perfect solution. That's true. You can do this. Keep going. There's nothing else to say, and less time to say it, so I hurry back outside without another word. I've barely gotten my breath back from running all over the library, running all the way to the library, but I force myself to run again. I have to cover as much ground as possible, as fast as possible. I check the Bell House, but she's not there. When I get to the apartment, it's just as I left it, same as the bus station. Turn around, about to start to trip back when I spot someone waving at me from nearby.
Hey, miss. You okay? I saw you run by here a while ago.
I'm looking for someone. A friend who should have been here by now.
On one of the buses? You sure they weren't on the one that broke down?
The what?
Yeah, heard some other folks who were here talking about it. Guess it broke down on the way back and the replacement's taking forever. They were getting pissed because it was going to make them late. Couldn't tell you which bus it was, but you could probably find out. Where were they coming from?
I don't know the name of the town. It's a few hours away.
Well, that doesn't exactly narrow it down, but it matches up, I think. The guys who are waiting were packed for a long trip, so it must be one of those distance lines.
Thanks.
I stumble as I turn back around, my legs shaking with like jelly. There's no way it isn't Aspen's bus. All the details line up so perfectly and terribly. My only hope is to wait here at the station and hope that the replacement arrives in time. Mechanically, I dial Aspen's phone over and over, hanging up and redialing whenever her recorded voice starts to play. At some point, I stop trying. As the minutes tick down, I feel increasingly sick, with the burning pressure of tears in my eyes. When I do hear the rumbling sound of approaching vehicle, I can barely believe it. Lifting my face from my hands, I watch with my heart in my throat as the bus turns the corner and pulls into the station. This has to be your bus. It has to be. Unable to move, I just watch as a line of passengers slowly disembarks, my eyes glued to the door until the line finally stops. There's then a line of waiting people, including the person who talked to me, begins to board. The bus takes off a minute later, without Aspen. Collapse back onto the bench, barely suppressing a sob. Why? Why is this happening? For the final few minutes, I stare at the phone, open to Aspen's info. Along with her number, there's a picture of her, sitting at the kitchen table. It's a little out of focus, but she's smiling. Look at the picture, rather than the time, as minutes become seconds, then seconds become nothing. A full 24 hours have passed, and Aspen never returned. Everything I was feeling melts into numbness. It seems like I should feel something, a chill or ache or some indication that it's over. I've been forgotten. Of course, there isn't one. I've been forgotten a million times before. It just never mattered. Even now, it doesn't feel real. Just a few hours ago, I was worrying over Aspen for entirely different reasons. I rise and slowly return to the library. I don't run. I don't look in the windows. I don't try calling. My sticky note's still on the front door when I get back. I tuck it down, stuffing it in my pocket as I trudge inside. Juliet stands up from the desk as I walk in. Alone. I can see her face shift as she realizes it. The door slams behind me. No one else stepping in.
Oh, Miho. I'm so sorry.
Here's your phone. Thanks for letting me borrow it.
I set it down on the desk and then stand there, not sure what to do next.
Perhaps it's not exactly 24 hours. Perhaps there's some leeway and she'll still get here in time.
Yeah, maybe. There was a bus that broke down, I guess. It must be hers. Someone at the station told me.
For once, Juliet seems to be at a total loss for words. She just nods stiffly at my explanation. I sit down at one of the chairs near Juliet, staring at the floor. The alarm bell in my head is mercifully silent. Faintly, it occurs to me that this must be what they call shock. We sit there until there's noise outside the door, catching both my and Juliet's attention. Slowly, the library door opens and Aspen enters, looking worn out. Her hair is frazzled and it looks like she's been running or crying or both. She shuts the door gently behind her. Julia and I both stand up from the desk at the same time.
Aspen, you're back.
I can't bring myself to say anything, only to stand there and wait. As the feelings of dread and anticipation return, I realize that I've held on to some hope after all.
Yes, I'm back. God, I know I'm late. It was ridiculous. Our bus broke down and the replacement didn't arrive for hours. We weren't even that far from Welly when it happened. Simply unbelievable.
Aspen reaches up to adjust her hat and glasses and holds out her phone with a smile.
I saw all the missed calls from you once I got back to the station, but it was so late, I thought it would just be easier to come straight here instead.
You don't remember.
So, sorry to keep you both waiting, Juliet.
Oh. Walking past Juliet, Aspen comes to where I'm standing, her eyes glued to the floor. She stops in front of me and slowly looks up. She was definitely crying.
And you must be Miho.
Oh my god, okay. You forgot, but now you must have left yourself a note or something. Something important. Matters of the Heart. Chapter 4. We're gonna stop that there. All of the feelings, my heart, oh honeybee, oh honeybee. Okay, with that, we're not gonna click through. Oh, devastating. Okay, I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye.